This is Heather Cray from World Class Tutoring. Welcome back to the Grammar Academy. And we are going to review the Unit 1 quiz together. So if you haven't done it already, for instance, if you're watching this video on YouTube, download the quiz, take it first, and then watch this video to check your answers, because I'm just going to go through all the answers here. All right, so let's jump in. If the digital SAT, if you took Unit 1, you know how it is set up and all the details about it. The first section is always reading and writing. And that's called Module 1. The second section is also reading and writing, but now it's Module 2. The third part is Math, Module 1. And then you have Math Module 2. And that would be the four parts to the digital SAT. The highest section you can get, the highest score you can get is 800 in one section, and the highest total score is that 1600. If you want to take a full-length practice test, which is strongly recommended, you would take that on the Blue Book app. And then when you're taking the reading and writing section, right, the questions do come in a predictable order. The first questions are always the sentence completion, so we would put that on the top of the list. And then let's see, information and ideas would be the next grouping of questions. Grammar comes after that, which is the topic of our course. It's right in the middle of the test, right? And then after that, you're going to get your transition questions. And always at the end is rhetorical synthesis. I have that numbered as 1, but it's the very last part of the reading and writing modules. All right, so that was the first part of the quiz. Oh, one other thing for the quiz. Which of the following of these would we consider standard English conventions? They both seem pretty standard. Remember, standard English conventions means academic language. But there's 2 reasons why text 1 would not qualify as standard English conventions on the SAT. For one thing, the SAT does not put a comma in front of quotations. They would reword the sentence so that the quotation is integrated smoothly into the sentence, and then it would not need a comma. So there, I don't want to say that you would not have put a comma here, because you would with the way this sentence is constructed, but the SAT would not have constructed it that way so that you wouldn't have needed that comma there. The other thing is right here, the Oxford comma is missing, and the SAT always uses that Oxford comma. So I don't think either of those problems are actually typos, right? They would be correct for journalistic English. It's just that they're not considered the type of English you would see on the SAT. So keep that in mind. You always want to use that Oxford comma before the last item in the list. Oops, it would be before the and right here. That's where the Oxford comma would go. And on the SAT, you're not going to see questions about quotations where that's like the heart of the question, right? But when you do see a quotation on the SAT, do not expect to see a comma with it. All right, let's move on to the actual practice questions here. Number 1, this is I can tell always look at the answers first, and it looks to me like this is a pronoun question. We're going to see the hero of our story here. And I do know that this hero is using he and his as pronouns, so this is going to be A for number 1. Number 2, read this carefully. This is one long sentence. Do not stop too soon or you will fall for a trap. The subject is Nathaniel Cross. The verb is all the way down here, develops. So be careful, the verb is not aims, and we do not want to select one of the options where aims is a verb. Instead, we want a verbal. right? So that is not fighting with that main verb of develops. And not only that, we have a comma between the subject and the verb. You don't want a comma between a subject and a verb unless you have two commas so they're working together. So C is where we have the two commas working together. I call that a comma hug. You could cross off all of these words between the two commas, starting with aiming there, and the sentence should still sound just fine. Nathaniel Cross develops electric vehicle prototypes with streamlined designs. Yeah, I never missed the words in between the commas. You can tell those commas are in the right place because of that test. All right, let's move on to Albert Einstein. When I look at the answers here, I'm noticing some have an apostrophe and some do not. So I have to think about the apostrophe. And you want to think about when you have an apostrophe, the word after it. Is brevity something that a phrase could have? And the answer is yeah, a phrase could have brevity. So I'm curious, in this case, as apostrophe, it would have to be multiple phrases. Whereas phrase apostrophe S, right, would be singular. And time is an illusion, is only one. So I think we're going with singular here. Let's get rid of A and B. And now there's a second aspect to that question. Is it a there or an it's, right? And in this case, it's only one phrase. So we're going to go with it's. D is the correct answer here. Do keep in mind IT apostrophe S is definitely not the correct answer because IT apostrophe S means it is. The brevity conceals, it is depth. No, that definitely sounds terrible. ITS with no apostrophe, that's possessive. So an apostrophe on a noun makes it possessive, but on a pronoun, apostrophe is something very different, is for a contraction. So when you use a possessive pronoun, there's no apostrophe at all. So ITS right here, that is a possessive pronoun. And it is the correct answer for number 3. All right, moving on to number 4. Looking at the answers, I can see that I'm just looking for the punctuation after Washington, D.C. Um, I see a dash and a comma, so I'm wondering, is there another comma or dash that might complete the hug? Definitely not the dash here. So let's look. Maybe there's a comma, though. Let's read it. In 2015, nearly a century after its opening, the National Museum of African American History and Culture in DC hosted is the verb, and this National Museum is the subject. What I do not want in between the subject and the verb is any kind of punctuation unless it's a pair. And I do not see a chance to put a pair of commas between the subject and verb. I do see a pair of commas here, but I already have the start and finish. I don't need a third one there. So we're going to go with D. No punctuation needed, other than the punctuation in that name of Washington, D.C., which, as you can tell, is the same in every option. It was the comma, colon, dash, or nothing that we were comparing here. The answer was the nothing, no punctuation. All right, last question. This is a super list. Yeah, super list is a list where the commas have been upgraded to semicolons, and they look kind of like this. Item 1, item 2, and item 3. You'll never have a semicolon next to an and for the typical way a semicolon is used. Typically a semicolon is just like a period. But when it's being used in the super list, which is that one exception we talked about, that one thing a semicolon can do in addition that a period can't do, right, is this super list. And then you might see a semicolon and next to it, and look right here. We see that in the sentence, not in the part we're changing, but the part that we can't change. There's your big clue that there is a super list here. Right? If you see that in your sentence, that's the only reason it could be correct. So now let's look at my items 1, 2, and 3. What do we want to bring to the picnic? Sandwiches with ham, cheese, and lettuce. Salads with tomato, cucumbers, and avocados, and drinks. So, hey, ham, cheese, and lettuce are all going together. I do not want to split that up with a semicolon. But at the end of lettuce, we're getting ready for our next item of salads. That's where our answer is going to be. So D is the answer. So the whole idea here is to first identify that it is a super list and then make sure you follow the pattern so you get that semicolon in just the right place. All right, I hope you did a great job on this quiz, and we'll see you in the next